Hey guys, welcome back to my channel, and we are once again doing another speed build. I've been just really preferring building over playing, especially after all the updates that we've been having in the game. My game luckily hasn't been too impacted by the update dates, but it's still kind of annoying with like even just a little bit of hiccups that I've had. I know some people's games have gone crazy with the new update, but I feel like I've been a little bit lucky with that and haven't had too much issues compared to other people, but it's still just for me, I've been enjoying building more than playing like with actual sims and everything. And also, I just in general kind of go through phases normally with sims where sometimes like I'm really into it and I'm playing all the time. And lately I've been more and more of one of my slumps where I really haven't been wanting to play that often. So I'm trying to get back into it, and the one thing that I've been enjoying is building. So that's how we're going to be getting back into playing The Sims a little bit more regularly. I definitely will be continuing with, doing my little let's plays and legacy challenges that I've been doing, because I've in the middle, I think I'm like in the third generation of the Disney Princess challenge, and for the Lucid Legacy challenge, we're kind of gearing up to get into the second gen. We just have to wait until they age up. So I definitely want to continue them because I've been enjoying them. It's just lately hasn't been the vibes right now. But anyways, for this build, I am building in Mount Komorebi. I feel like I literally just did a build not too long ago of Mount Komorebi, at least as far as like uploading to this channel. And I guess I've just been enjoying building in Mount Komorebi, which I used to be very intimidated by it because I felt like it needed to make sure it had like that Japanese style to it and everything, and I was just like, I don't know how to do that. But lately I've been really enjoying it, and just kind of vibing with it and just utilizing what the game has and letting that kind of steer me in the right direction, and just kind of looking at the builds that are already in the game, like even like the non-playable builds and stuff, and just using the surrounding buildings to kind of help me decide on what looks best and what's not. So for this build, I didn't want to, because the last build that I did in Mount Komorebi, I had it where it had two shops at the bottom, and it was two different homes. But for this one, I just wanted to make it like a simple, regular schmegular house. And I also wanted to challenge myself because, like I said, I found utilizing some of this stuff very intimidating because I wanted to make sure that it was like fairly accurate and everything. So I challenged myself by using the little mats. I can't remember what they're called right now, of course, but the little like special mats that are supposed to be in like special different like patterns and everything. I made sure to use them because I've never used them before, and I figured why not give it a try. And I wanted to try my best on pretty much just using base game and the Snow Escape pack as far as this build. There may be a chance that I maybe possibly used something else from another pack, but for the most part, I'm pretty sure I only used base game and Mount Komorebi, but I honestly didn't double check, but that was the intention. So there might be an extra pack in there, but most likely not. But anyways, like I said, I really tried to keep to the style because I think also I remember whenever Snow Escape was coming out, a lot of simmers who were working on the builds had mentioned that they were trying to incorporate the style of bathroom that they have, I guess, in Japan, so oftentimes, where the toilet is in a separate room from the rest of the like shower stuff. And so I tried to do that as well for this build as well. So that also kind of was a little bit of an issue for me because I also didn't want it to be a big, huge house either. I wanted the rooms to be fairly small and whatnot. So I'm trying to keep it in a smaller size proved to be a bit of an issue. So I kept on having to like adjust and readjust and whatnot in order to get it into the perfect kind of shape and size for the house. And so we had to deal with that. But overall, I think that the build actually ended up turning out pretty good, especially in my opinion, because I was really nervous about it. But I did most of the build weeks ago. I honestly don't remember when I started doing this build, but I just finished it yesterday. So, I honestly don't remember all of the things that were going through my that was going through, not were going through, that was going through my mind when I was initially building. Um, but I knew that I wanted it to be like a family home and kind of have like some traditional aspects to it, but then also be like more of a modern house and whatnot. So that's kind of the vibes that I went for. And um yesterday, as far as the build, like I had most of the build done and I even had a lot of furniture and everything placed. It was mainly just like putting in the last minute touches and adding in like decorations and stuff to fill up the house a little bit more. I always find the decorating part kind of challenging because I never know like what's too much, what's too little. I don't know. So that was really hard for me. But as you can see, what I was just doing there with the mats, um, I was really struggling at first. I honestly just like shrunk down the bedroom because it just wasn't making any sense. And then I can't tell you, I was looking and searching online to see like how to properly place these mats to see like what would be like the best way to do it for far too long probably. And so I cut that out for you guys so you guys didn't have to suffer through um me just like sitting there looking online to figure out that stuff. But I think it actually turned out pretty good from like the little research that I did do. So I'm pretty proud of myself because like I always wanted to use those mats to just like see what it would be like and look like, but I always struggled with it too. So I think it turned out well. I kind of imagined like having like two children, but like one is like more on the younger side and one is like kind of probably like more of like a preteen kind of age, and then a teenager. That's kind of the vibes that I was going for with the bedrooms upstairs. And I put the kids upstairs and the parents in like the downstairs bedroom. I normally don't do that. Normally I'm very like, I guess, westernized, Americanized, like suburban vibe where like all the bedrooms have to be upstairs. But this time I decided to switch it up a little bit. And I know there are definitely some suburban houses that have their master bedroom on the ground level too, but like in my head where I live, most of the houses, at least like the more modern houses, if it is a two-story house, all the bedrooms are upstairs and like the living area is downstairs. But I decided to switch it up a little bit. And I kept a lot of this stuff really tight and small because, like I said, I wanted it to be, you know, a smaller build anyways. I feel like it's still, in the grand scheme of things, it still is a pretty big build. But I think at the same time, the way that I laid the stuff out, I feel like it is kind of still has like a slightly more cozy vibes. But I wanted it to be like functional for like this family of for oh my goodness. I wanted it to be functional for the size of the family that we have because obviously minimum even if you only have one parent, there's still three kids. So you need space for at least four, in my head, five kids because I imagine it being like a married couple with three kids. So I wanted to make sure that there was enough space to kind of have room for everyone to be able to sit and eat dinner and like just like live within the house, if you know what I mean. So that was kind of what I was going for, but also keeping it cozy at the same time. So I tried to use as much of the different things that come with Snow Escape that I normally don't really use. So I use like the space heater and I used the little I don't remember what all of these things are actually supposed to be called in the proper terminology, but I used the little like hot pot table. That's like the more traditional way of sitting and eating and everything. And so I was trying to go for that kind of vibe. I did struggle a lot with just like picking out colors because as you can see right now, the house is very beige. And I struggle with that a lot because I guess I am someone who does go for more neutral colors. Like my own home is a very much millennial gray home. So it just is really hard for me when it comes to The Sims and playing this, that it's really hard for me to like incorporate more color, but I do go back and try to add in at least a little bit more color. So in the kitchen here, I did go back and kind of try to find a color that, and I'm using color very loosely or however you would want to say it because I it's not really color, it's more of like a gray, but it's different from the beige. So, but I just felt like the other colors didn't go well because with the rest of the house, it's so beige. I didn't want to like throw in a random color. So I was gonna go with like one of the greens or the more colorful stones, but then I figured it would just be too crazy and too much of a big, huge difference. So I ended up just deciding to go with a more neutral, plain color. This is also another area that I really struggled with. For some reason, this bathroom was just such a problem for me because I couldn't find a color for the sink that really matched the rest of the house. Because I didn't want to use the same counters that I have in the kitchen. Initially, I wanted to try and use something else, but I just ended up having to use the same counters and do it that way because nothing else, in my opinion, was matching the right wood tones. I think that's like the one frustrating thing that I do find with this game is there are a lot of wood tones, but they don't all like blend well and match well together, especially with all of the different packs. I just think that we could use some more swatches from a variety of different packs that actually go well together and don't clash. Because I feel like that gets super, super frustrating for me personally often because it just messes me up a little bit when I want to use certain colors or use certain items and I can't find the right matches for it. So that's my one little minor complaint out of a lot of things wrong with the game. But right now, for the most part, I'm just adding in different decoration items to the kids' rooms and into the rooms in general, honestly, just to give it a little bit of stiff and a little bit of like extra to it. And I think I was literally kind of in the middle of saying this earlier, but I always get lost in my own endless stream of thoughts. But I was saying earlier that like I feel like it's sometimes really hard for me to um figure out how much decorations to put because sometimes I feel like I don't put enough, but then sometimes I'm like keeping it simple and keeping it limited is okay because like not everyone and not everything needs to have like a buttload of clutter just all over the place. So I always struggle with that a little bit of like, okay, when is a good place to stop and when do I need to add a little bit more? Because I used to never put any sort of clutter into my builds. Like when I first started really building my own builds, I would just make sure that they had like the basics of like you need your bed, maybe put some nightstands and maybe if I remember put a lamp on there and like okay, that's decorations and whatnot. But like now I've tried to get into actually putting in like color clutter. I don't know why I keep on getting like tongue tied right now, but um now I do try to put in a little bit of clutter to make sure like it looks lived in, you know, and like make sure it kind of gives each of the rooms like a little bit more personality for it. So that's what I try to do now, but sometimes, like I said, I don't know when to stop. But I also sometimes struggle like with using the same things over and over and over again. It's a problem. I don't love it, but it is what it is. So, watching this back right now, I feel like maybe when it comes to the clutter stuff, I may have started to use other packs. I don't know. It kind of looks like I've been using some other packs, but like I said, I did try and make an attempt to not use other packs, but at least if I am using other packs like I think I am for the clutter, at least it's just the clutter, you know? But like that's the thing is like there are so many packs in this game that I feel like there's some stuff that I may not have even ever like used or even know about. And like we're getting another one. And I will say it does look really interesting. Like I'm very intrigued on the things that we can possibly do, at least from what it looks like from the trailer. But at the same time, I don't know how to feel about it because I just feel like I did not get like the fairies pack, but I have heard that like a lot of people were like, it wasn't it, and they didn't really love it all that much. But I just didn't even bother to get it because I know that for me personally, I'm not a very big occult player, so it would be kind of pointless for me to even bother getting it. And just honestly, lately with a lot of the packs, I just feel like they always come out and they're super buggy or there's something wrong with them or like even like they just don't live up to the hype of it all. So I've kind of just stopped immediately buying packs. Like sometimes like if the pack really does sound like it's up my alley, yeah, I might go ahead and get it. But for the most part, I've been starting to go back to my old ways of when I was like a little kid and had to wait until it came on sale before my parents would even consider buying me a new pack or waiting until I could afford it with the little bit of allowance or money that I had myself. And I've just kind of gone back into that kind of way of going about it because especially if it ends up being super glitchy or it ends up where it seemed cool and seemed fun, but then I don't really use it, it's kind of pointless to spend the huge amount of money it costs for these packs. So I might end up getting the new pack, but I don't know. I feel like I'm definitely gonna just have to wait and see other simmers playing it to really see if I want to get it, but I don't know. Because I'm also just worried about all of the glitching that has been happening lately with like the new updates and everything. And I'm sure with that pack, it's definitely going to need a huge update. So definitely going to be playing that one by ear personally. But it does seem cool and fun. But then there are some aspects that I feel like maybe I wouldn't use as much. And it's kind of crazy because I feel like some of the things, especially with like the kids gameplay, I feel like I literally just downloaded some CC that like have a lot of the same features. So I mean that would be nice as long as it like works is to like have that stuff and like be able to get rid of some of my CC and like mods and stuff like that. So I could do that and that would be cool, but it all depends on how it actually ends up working in the end and whether or not it's actually worth it. But I honestly just wish that we could do like a whole start over and have like a Sims 5 or something that, you know, maybe has, you know, a better system with it and like just overall a lot of the problems that we have in Sims 4 address them in Sims 5. But obviously, they're not going to be doing a Sims 5 maybe ever, but definitely not anytime soon, which is unfortunate because it's definitely I feel like time to have like a new Sims game for sure because it's been like what over 10 years now that we've had Sims 4, which it's been good, but and we've had some fun times, but I feel like now is the time to kind of change it up a little bit and like have something different because we've never had a Sims game for this long. It's normally been updated or like a new one has come out by this time normally. So that's my thoughts and opinions briefly with that here. But going back to the last bit of my build, I guess. I'm just kind of doing some last minute touches. I don't know why, but I get so indecisive when it comes to like matching my colors and stuff like that. and whatnot. So I did struggle with figuring out what kind of colors I wanted to do for the little steps and everything, which I feel like I've been using platforms a lot lately, which can be frustrating at times because you have to be really specific and really exact with it all and everything. But I like the look of the platforms more than like regular steps because I feel like it just looks nicer and cooler. But I just tried to put in like a little bit of, landscaping and stuff because that is one area that I feel like is my biggest problem area. Is I just don't think I have the eye for landscaping. But it's everyone has their own little talents and that's just not one of mine. But maybe the more I do it, the better I'll get eventually. But I kind of just do a little something something with the landscaping really quickly. I don't know if it really the execution was there completely, but it's there nonetheless. But I'm gonna go ahead and kind of do my outro now because the video is definitely coming to an end because there's not much left with me just doing the last little touches of the landscaping. But I thank you guys so, so much for joining me with this other speed build that I've done that is also another Mount Komorebi speed build. But I hope you enjoyed it nonetheless, and I will catch you guys next time. Bye!